Sometimes it's a bit like that. Live, share screen. Got a thumbs up. Nobody else is watching at the moment. Wait for update. Wait till we get somebody else online. And got rugby on today, and other people are busy with their lives. Oh, is that you? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cats. Hi, sweet Penny.
Just when they're out there, they know that there's.
Hi, John. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Evening, John. Even
Steve. Hello, mate. Glad to see you. You're the first two on tonight, apart from Kaz. Well done. Congrats. Blimey, it suddenly starts accelerating. Right, guys, as usual, what I'm going to do, it's 1959. I'm going to give it a few minutes. Law Mice, welcome.
Hello.
I'll wait till I get a small handful of people on before I crack on properly, and then it saves me having to go back over stuff. But first, I hope you've all had an excellent week. Phil. Evening, Phil, mate. Right, you hold on there, Phil. I'm going to let everybody know your news shortly, if that's okay with you. And, yeah, there's John. Wonderful. Right. So, first things first, cider. Oh, I can't. It's 1959. No. Nearly broke the yard arm rule. Get hung for that. Oh, dear me. I've got to wait for 200 hours before I open my cider. Oh, that makes it a bit rough, doesn't it? Okie dokie. Well, I hope.
And I'm being sophisticated. I'm on the woo-woo cocktails. Whatever the hell that is.
So if Gaz starts going woo-woo, yeah, it's down to the cocktails. Starts making little train noises. What I can do. Oh, there we go. 200 hours. That'll do me. 8 o'clock in the evening, UK time. That's my glass tonight. Hobgoblin glass. Used to be a big hobgoblin ale drinker. I tend to find that beers give me a headache these days. Do you know what? It's come straight out of the fridge. It's a twist top, and it's damp. It's damp. Oh, I've got a cloth. Oh. Right, excuse me, guys. Got to be a bit.
It's good.
Uncivilized. God, yeah. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I can grip the top. All right. Tonight, I am
welcome. Evening, Pete. 30 pickles.
English vintage cider, slowly matured from a single year's harvest, made by Weston and Sons. So I should be giving that a go tonight. See what we think of that.
Pickles.
Hi, Percy Pickles. How you doing, mate? Hope you're all good. Right. Let's get my cider into me.
Excuse me.
Looking forward to this all week. Yeah, fantastic. Right. Cheers, everybody, wherever you are in this fine world of ours. I hope you're having a great day, a great week, and a gorgeous life.
Evening, Boss Hog.
Evening, Mac.
Oh, that's a bit.
Let's do that.
I don't want to try a bit of have a woo-woo.
I'm trying a bit of woo-woo. No, ain't for that. After it's a dry cider tonight. So
of course.
Yeah, do need that point. Right, let's get into it. This week's been a bit of a nightmare, and I will ask everybody out there for your prayers and blessings for Phil. Unfortunately, poor Phil, right back in the beginning of the week, was suffering with pains in the head. And went down very, very quickly. And I'm not going to go into too much detail other than the fact he's had a bleed on the brain, which has led to him being rushed to our local A&E. From our local A&E, he was shipped up to a neurological centre in London, where they have operated. I'll let him give you the details if he wishes. Other than that, that's more his business. But yeah. I saw him before and I've seen him after the operation, and it's all looking bloody excellent. But poor bugger has been through hell, as is his family, because as you can understand, pressure on the brain and all that, it's not a good thing. But he is hopefully not not fondling nurses up there.
He's joining us from his bed.
And he is joining us from his bed tonight. I don't know how long he'll manage to keep going. But Phil, all our love and blessings to you, mate. All right, take it easy. Yeah, keep staring at them nurses. Remember the testicle trick that I showed you? That's always good for a giggle. I'll explain that to everybody later. But other than that, mate, you've got our blessings. And yeah, you're on the road to recovery. So, guys, it has been a bit hectic for me because his poor wife doesn't drive, nor does his son. So I've been running them up to and from London, so obviously they can get up to see him. Great fun, that. Yeah, I'm a country mouse. I'm definitely not a town mouse. I do not like driving in London.
And as it had to be done, we went through Tooting. We go, power to the people.
Yeah, for those of you that remember the Tooting Popular Front, yeah, we've been through there. And today I got the shock of my life because I'm driving through London, look to the right, and yeah, there's a fucking womble stood on the pavement, a womble. And then everybody pointed out I'm going through Wimbledon. So yeah, and for those of you that are American, wombles were a children's thing. Yeah, look up on YouTube the wombles. Yeah, okay.
You see some blonde bimbo hit that classic car on the way up.
No. Survival. Okay, the art of survival. I'm not going to go too hard on people tonight, but the art of survival. The first rule of survival is your surroundings, your awareness. Don't get lured into a false sense of security. Be aware of what's happening. No, I can't tomorrow, I'm afraid, Phil. I am flat out tomorrow, mate, but it will be Tuesday. Yes, it's your situational awareness, okay? You've got to be situationally aware. Things can change very, very quickly. And we had a prime example of that on the way up to London. We were on a local, it's not a motorway, but it is 3-lane traffic. It's called the A3. It might as well be a motorway. But it's nose to tail, and it is down to one of those horrible traffic moments, you know, where you're not actually really moving, but you're not stopped. It's go 5 feet, stop, 2 minutes, move 5 feet, stop. And at one point, Kaz said to me, stupid lass and that. And she was dead level with us. We're in the outside lane. She's in the middle lane.
In an Evoque.
In a Range Rover, and she's playing with her hair and she's chatting away on the phone. And Kaz said, you watch. She's going to hit that car in front of her in a minute. Well, the car in front of her was a 1940s MG in pristine condition with 2 old boys in it.
And the fuel can on the back.
Yeah, who had obviously spent an absolute fortune and hours and hours, if not days, months and years, restoring this thing. And the traffic's just doing that. And sure enough, at one point, she just didn't see it stop. And she just donked into the back of it. And it didn't, you know, we by the time we caught up with them and passed it, it didn't look like a lot of damage. But I do know from my dad being a mechanic and that, it's not what you can see on the outside. It's the damage underneath, especially with an old classic car like that. You know, it can crack things, it damages things, it buckles bracings, joints, suspension and stuff like that. But yeah, all because she was too busy chatting on her phone, playing with her hair. And it doesn't matter because we're only going walking speed and we're not going to hurt anybody. But that's when it always goes wrong, when you least expect it. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And that caused mayhem.
And then that caused mayhem because, and give the old boy his due, he just stopped and got out. And you can see on his face, it was like, I don't believe this. He stopped. Lucky enough, I just managed to get past. And then as I'm moving away with the motorway traffic for the next 10-15 minutes, I could just see this big gap between them and us where nobody wanted to pass them. Because it's always the same thing. Everybody's jumping out and going, yeah, I'm a witness. Oh, 1940s MG, no crumpled zones on that. The crumpled zone on a 1940s MG Roadster is pretty much your body.
They're pretty like well over the steering wheel and really there.
hence I'm a bit scruffy tonight as well, because I haven't long got back from taking Phil's, or bringing Phil's missus and son back from the hospital. Now, yes, I'm having a bit of a disaster now. What have I done with my cigarette lighter? It's there. Not a problem. Yes, it's just a little two-seater, tiny little two-seater sports car, but beautiful, beautiful.
A lovely sort of royal blue.
Yeah, it wasn't a lovely royal blue. And I did think to myself at the time, God, you know what? Really, if I owned something like that, it's probably worth tens of thousands of pounds. It's not going to keep up with modern traffic. It's got little tiny wide spoke wheels on it. I fancy getting out there. Hi Ian, how you doing?
Evening, Ian.
Anyhow, so that's been my week, and so what I'm pretty much doing, I'm doing a day on, day off, because as you guys are aware, I'm a carer for Kaz. I also look after my mum, and yeah, so yeah, I have to sort of share my time out, and then obviously his channel. So if we don't get much out this week, although I am planning to get something out, but if we don't get much out this week, I do apologise. And what I did manage to get out this week was literally grabbed in thanks to Gareth and that, in a couple of hours in the morning. And I hope you all enjoyed that. I'm really pleased with some of the feedback I got from you guys. Positive ground, yeah, cool, yeah. We'll go back to that. Positive ground. There's been more than one battery and starter motor blown up. Yeah. So yeah, that was grabbed as a quickie. That was literally, I didn't know what I was going to be able to do this week, and I knew Mac wasn't available, so I dived out, and I had just literally a couple of hours in the woods. So it was a nice walk round. Hi, Derek.
Buenos dias.
Had a good wander around with the old camera phone and that, and tried to find some bits of interest for you.
Very well, Derek. How are you?
Yeah, went to see what we can get. And again, it's like the deer, you know, as I'm always saying, it's all in the stalk. It's not how big your tool is, it's how close you can get to use it. And again, I was really pleased, because I was expecting a bit of negativity about the air rifle and that. I didn't want to offend, upset people. That's why I don't go too much into my shooting, because there's always somebody that's going to get upset about it. Well, actually, the feedback I got off of that, I was really pleased with. And yeah, I do know, and as I pointed out there, it depends where you live. You know, we've got no major predators in the UK, and I think any of my American viewers will agree with me. You know, if you've got no major predators, you've got no major risk from human threat, then the thing to do is have something where you can carry a large amount of ammunition that you can use over a long period of time. That's easy to store, easy to maintain, and for small game, you can't really go far wrong with an air rifle. You know, I don't know about the States now, but in the UK, you can buy a tin of good quality pellets in thousands, and yeah, easy to carry, easy to use, and it will always provide you with a bit of food. Have to be careful. And you know, the annoying thing is, it's not so much in the YouTube rules. They're quite easy to follow, but it only takes one person to complain. It takes one person to become offended and create a case, and then yeah, it feeds back on you. So I try and walk a line. And yeah, it's yeah, sooner or later it's going to kick me in the ghoulies, but when it happens, it happens. We'll deal with it, won't we? Yeah, so long-term survival. I sat there the night before. I thought, long-term survival. What would I need? Look to the wall. What do I need? What don't want to take everything. What could I use? What would be practical? What would I want? And yeah, just pretty much ran with that. And again, I agree with one of the comments that was made. You know, I'm not knocking any other YouTubers at all. Everybody's got their own path, their own ideas, their own route. Everybody's got their own theories, practices, and so on. Some guys are just doing it for the hobby, and they will whittle spoons till the cows come home. You've got other guys want to build elaborate buildings and that, and historical buildings, and I think that's awesome. And I won't take it away from either of them. Both demonstrating their skills and sharing them with other people, and that's bloody awesome. I'm not so much of a builder, and my spoon tends to end up looking like a fork. Yeah, exactly that. Knowledge, always in anything you're doing in life. It's funny, isn't it? It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's nice, Derek, nice.
You're a good person, Derek.
Good man, Derek. Yeah, and that's what you got to try and be in this world. Try and be a good human being. Can't always. Sometimes you need to lay the law down, or, as my friend used to say to me, occasionally it is a requirement that you have to put a foot on the throat. But again, try and be a good person, don't you? Yeah, always knowledge. And it doesn't matter what you're doing in life. It doesn't matter whether it's survival, preparation. It doesn't matter whether it's going to school. It doesn't matter whether it's driving a car. It doesn't matter whether it's your day-to-day job at work. It's the knowledge. If you've got the knowledge, right, and then you've got the tools and you've got the situational awareness, you're laughing. You can barrel through. And of course, in survival situations, as I'm always pointing out to people, and they're quite often, there's some people, and I've talked about it in the past, and I'm helping them to learn about survival, and I say to them, lady luck. You know, you've got to have a bit of luck. I know they're always a bit disappointed by that.
Definitely, John, I love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's one of the greatest lines in history, isn't it? Don't panic. Yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting. Dehydrator.
Yes, I keep looking at dehydrators and thinking about that. Yeah, I agree with you, Mac. There are occasions in life where I actually put it down to a form of Tourette's. I have a form of Tourette's, and it is affected by the ignorant and stupid. And I have what they call one warning Tourette's. Okay. Now, one warning Tourette's is quite a severe, debilitating illness, but it doesn't affect the brain so much. See, normal Tourette's affects the brain and the speech pattern, causes twitches. That doesn't affect my speech, and it doesn't affect my ability to talk, but I've got this twitch, which means my fist flies out in an uncontrollable manner. And yeah, I think Max suffers with it as well. It's you know, and the reason it's called one warning Tourette's is because usually you just turn to the person when you're about to have that twitch and said to them in one way or another, go away.
Mac, okay? I've always said you two were twins. Always.
Yeah. You know, you say to them, go away, and then you always get that, yeah, but. And that triggers the twitch. Just can't help it. Well, that's my excuse, Your Honour. It's not my fault. Right, let's get on to some news. No, we're not. Not going on to some news. Tell you what I'm going to do. I did get asked a question, and somebody sent me an email. And they asked me about British snakes. I believe they're a bit of a heptologist themselves in their own country. So I got the lovely Kaz to basically, whilst we were sitting in the hospital car park today, and I was making a brew. That's a short that will come up this week. I'll stick that up. Again, using my kit in the car park. We sat in the car park for
3 hours.
3 hours, 4 hours?
3 or 4 hours, yeah.
3 or 4 hours. And I wasn't going to go and spend the sort of money that you have to pay in a hospital cafe to get a coffee. So got the kit out, knocked up the coffee on the tailgate of the Land Rover in the car park, and a nice coffee it was too. Anyhow, I digress. Let's get back to this. British snakes. Okie doke. So this is the official information that my darling wife has managed to find out for you. The adder. The adder is Britain's only viper.
Even fuck you, Karoo.
Hi, FU crew. The adder is Britain's only viper. Okay. And since 1876, there have been only 14 recorded deaths, with the last fatality being in Scotland in 1975. July to August is when it's warmest and when you're most likely to run into adders. Although rare to be bitten, between 50 to 100 occur each year, but not all bites are venomous. A lot of times these are dry bites with no venom. People mainly get bites on their hands when they try to pick adders up. Funny that. Or on their legs and feet due to not seeing them, stepping on them, or surprising them and stepping next to them. Dogs suffer about 100 bites a year, and apparently it's mostly on the nose that they get bitten because they go to sniff the snake. A large female adder is up to 31 inches long. Males are usually smaller, and males are grey and have a distinctive dark zigzag on their back. The females are brown, and they again have a dark zigzag on their back. They both have red vertical slit eyes. Males and females are found in the entirety of the UK or British Isles, okay, with the exception of Ireland. The next snake we come across, which again, this is a bit of information. I've come across the smooth snakes, but it's a bit of information I didn't realise. Smooth snake, only found in heathlands in southern England. They are very rare, and the UK's only constrictor snake. Grow to a maximum of 30 inches long, and only strike as a deterrent. They have no dark zigzags, but have rounded pupils and live on ground nesting birds and lizards the same as the adders do. Next snake you're going to come across, and I know we went into the fourth snake species last week, but I'm not going to include that in this because it is pretty much too rare to even include. But the grass snake. Grass snakes are found near water sources. It's a brilliant swimmer. It eats mainly tadpoles, small fish. It can reach lengths of 5 feet and may play dead if threatened. They are green with a yellow and black collar. Yeah, it's beautiful as well. It really stands out. With a pale belly and dark markings running down their length. Grass snakes prefer wetlands, heathlands, and if water runs nearby, or runs nearby, heathlands if water runs nearby. Garden ponds and rural areas and woodlands across the country have a wealth of grass snakes in. Right. More live in the southern parts of the UK, but they can occasionally be found in the north too. And on the South Downs, there is a serpent trail through West Sussex, south coast, and which borders Surrey and East Sussex. That is the serpent trail. In fact, it goes as far as Dorset. So that's snakes. That's our three main three. So I'm Cornish.
You had too much.
That's our three main species of snake in the UK. The ones that you are likely to see and bump into.
Oh dear, cobra.
So we've got some good news. And it's of course everybody's on about the warming of the climate, and that brings things back. But in actual fact, this has nothing to do with the warming of the climate. But it does have something to do with conservation. Get myself sorted. The angel shark. The rare angel shark was caught for the first time in 60 years off the Brighton coast. This angel shark was caught on the 23rd of July and is commonly found around the Canary Islands. It is a bottom-dwelling shark that hides under sand on seabeds waiting for prey to come into reach. It is classified as a critically endangered species and has largely disappeared from its historic range. These sharks were common in Sussex up until the 1960s. The one caught last week, based on size, was estimated to be a year-old pup, so likely to be born as a result of Sussex new shore trawling bylaw. Basically what they've done, they banned inshore trawlers. Same as anywhere in the world. We've got people that will trawl the bottom of the seabed. And don't get me wrong, I come from an area of the country which has a lot of fisheries and a lot of fishing. Some areas need to be protected. It helps the species, it keeps the fish stocks up, it gives them nesting grounds and so on, breeding areas. Okay, so that's this ban has been in place for 2 years, and within 2 years, one of these sharks has managed to be caught and found. Now, it doesn't mean they've gone away completely. Obviously, they've become so rare that nobody was catching them, and their nesting ground was obviously getting destroyed by trawlers. So they're back. Once common in Sussex, but in recent years confined to Wales as the nearest known breeding site. They eat bony fish, crustaceans, and mollusks. Poor old mollusks, they always get it. They can't run away, can they? It's the old snail thing. I've got as fast as I can. I'm running. 1 foot in slime. So again, that was a bit of good news. And I know it's not really what we cover on this channel, but again, it's a survival thing, isn't it? Yeah. As all the species, every species that we can protect comes back, becomes a resource or an indicator that environment's improving. The more the environment's improved, the better off for us. Now, for our UK guys mainly, and obviously your American guys might be interested in this, and guys from anywhere else in the world, but this is great news for anybody in the UK. Okay, everybody's always saying to me about wild camping. Right, Mac, the Hampshire Hog Hunters, found this for us. It's a fantastic bit of news, and I will be taking Mac down hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and we will be doing a review at this place. All intel adds up, yeah.
Stuff like some literally my back out.
Yeah. Great whites. Good Cornishman. We got great whites. Okay, so I have to suck on my cigar and brace myself for this because I'm so excited. So we're going to be going down to Devon in the next 2 weeks, hopefully, if all goes good. And we'll be visiting a place called Bear Down Farm, wild camping. It's a working hill farm on the high moor of Dartmoor. They have beef, cattle and sheep on 1,100 acres of moorland, bordered by the Kelsey and the West Dart rivers. This is a true wild camping site. There is only one single outside tap. There are a few fire pits. There are no toilets, no showers, no electric, no Wi-Fi. You have a choice of 2 main campsites. One is the riverside in a sheltered valley spanning the Kelsey River, and the other is more level area next to Devonport Leat. Both campsites are available for individuals, so that you can turn up, somebody else can turn up and camp near you, or can be booked exclusively. Okay. Prior booking in all occasions is essential. There is also a camping pod available, so those of you with a partner who might not necessarily want to wild camp, put her in the pod. Put her in the pod. Okay. There is. Okay. And there is also an area for camper vans as well. Firewood and kindling. There is no sourcing wild materials down there. It is supplied by the farm. You buy it from the farm, which is understandable. It's a conservation issue, and it's also, at the end of the day, it's a working farm. They don't want people ripping hedges down, cutting trees down. And from my quite large knowledge of Dartmoor, there's probably not a lot of wood there anyhow. If you did have people sourcing it within a year, it's all going to be gone. But they will supply you with firewood and kindling. It's available to buy when you inquire about your booking. So you obviously pre-order it. Right? If you're really desperate and you've got a group and you want a toilet, they will hire you a portaloo. Okay? They require that their rules must be read before your stay. So visit the website, go through the rules and make sure it's for you. Riverside is available from September to June at £2.50 per person per night. Hallelujah. July and August is £10 per adult, £5 for under each 14-year-old. Yeah, I get it. It's a working farm. They're making what they can. Times are hard. £10 a night, that ain't too bad. Okay, we'll take that. The Leat site September to June, it's £2.50 per person per night. Excellent. Again, July and August, it's £5 per adult, £2.50 per child. There you go. You can't go wrong with that. £2.50, okay, per night for a kid. £5 for an adult. That's a cheap old site. If you want to make either of those sites exclusive, i.e., you want to book it, say you and a mate, and have nobody else on there, it's £100. But that also means you could book it for a group. So you work it out. You take 15 of you down there, it's £100. Brilliant. Some tenner each, you know. Camper vans, they charge £10 per vehicle per night. Local amenities are nearby in Princetown. They got shops, post office, 2 pubs, cafes, fish and chip shop, Dartmoor Visitor Centre, and of course Dartmoor Prison. Don't bother. If I was giving you a choice there, obey the rules, or no, in actual fact, if I know Dartmoor farmers, it's a peat bog up the road. So that is, and I will tell you again, and you'll need to look it up on the Tinterweb yourself, but Bear Down Farm Wild Camping, BEARDON or DOW. I will start again. In fact, no, I won't. Let's do easier than that. It's can I get that down there? Can that focus or not? No, it won't. All right, I'll read it out. BEARDOWN, all one word, followed by farm, FARM, wild camping. Have a look on the internet, look it up. I will be down there hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks with Mac. We'll do a simple overnight down there, have a look at the amenities, get some footage, have a good look around, make a video of it, and get that information up there for you guys.
The details also on the Hampshire Hog Hunters
and the
Bushcraft site on Facebook.
Yeah, and if you go to the Hampshire Hog Hunters Bushcraft site on the Facebook, you will find the details for it there. But we will be going and trying it out.
So Derek likes your military line pack out.
Right, I'm just literally going to whiz back through the comments quick, guys. Yes.
So that's better deal, does it, John, than what you have to pay the state park?
Yeah, it does look good. Shovel recce is always available. The thing is, who's that? Yeah, John. The thing is, shovel recce's can always be beaten by a handful of Imodium.
It's nice the chance to get wild camping and not have but I need a TV and I need a shower and I got to log my phone in and
Yeah, and I agree with Mac. Hampshire Hog Hunters. In the future, like the dream is to be able to set up somewhere like that ourselves, where people would be able to come, wild camp, basic amenities, basic facilities that you could come and enjoy it, and also practice your skills. I'd love to be able to set up somewhere like that where people could come along, have a camp, come for the weekend, and share their skills, share their ideas, learn from one another. And if it's people that are new to it, again, I keep saying to them, don't just listen to me. Go and watch everybody else as well. Okay, my techniques work for me. Come from years of practice, so that they fit me. They fit my body. They fit my physicality, my abilities. Okay, not necessary for everybody. Again, other people may have disabilities. Other people may even be fitter. Mac, I tell you, I'm the slowest walker in the world. Okay, it's over the years. The amount of times he's had to stop and wait for me. But I've got little slow legs. The thing is, though, as Mac, I tell you, I may have little slow legs, but they just keep going and going and going and going. Okay, So
yes, John, I've tried the US is it omelette?
yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
it was a ham and egg on
Yeah.
ham omelette, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Ugh.
Yeah, that was an experience. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So where do I go from here? Right. So long-term survival. You've seen that video. I will be hitting that again. I've got to sit down and have a bit of a think about it. But again, see, long-term survival is planned survival. It's using your skills and abilities and a bit of planning. In an ideal world, if you were going to go and do a long-term survival, yeah, biscuits brown 1 pack a day, that will bung you up. If you do a long-term survival, then the ideal thing is caches. You know, if you know the area you're going to use your survival zone, you cache things away, and you cache simple things that are going to provide you the basics. Um, you know, at the end of the day, in a survival situation, the one thing that I'm always harping on about, because I see so many people, I'm going to live off just protein. You can't live off just protein. I'm just going to hunt for. Yes, hunting is great. Protein is superb. It's initially fantastic for your body. You've got to get the carbs in there as well. Carbs feed the brain. Protein does not feed the brain. It does not give the brain anything at all. Now, it's great for muscle, it's great for the heart and all the rest of it. It doesn't do anything for the brain. You need those carbs for the brain. You also need all those essential vitamins and minerals. And one of the problems with protein is it's a thief. It steals vitamins, minerals, okay, from the body. It reduces the body's ability to process them. So that you've got to back that up with those carbs, the starches, the fats, the sugars. Keep yourself going. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, tin of bully beef and rice. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So again, and as somebody come back to me and said, "Oh, you sure bulrushes are edible?" Well, if bulrushes aren't edible, I should have died about 35 years ago. Bulrushes are available all over the world, and the roots of the bulrush are absolutely fantastic form of starch. They're quite pleasant to eat. You can eat them raw, you can eat them cooked. I would always advise cooking them because you're pulling bulrush roots or the tubers out of marsh water. The idea of eating those raw, you know what creepy crawlies, bacteria, and that's down there. So you want to give it a good cooking before you eat it, or a good boiling. It's also nice roasted over a fire, to be honest with you. No amount of hot sauce is going to cure biscuits brown. Once they form their plug, that's it. Yeah, same as cattails. Yeah, or what you guys would call cattails. Yeah, the tuber and that is absolutely full of good starches. And then you've got other things that you can collect. Fiddleheads, yeah. Fiddleheads, as long as it is just the fiddleheads, obviously, you know, ferns and the brackens, once they start to actually bulk out or have unfurled, you've got to be a bit careful. What else? You got the good old nettle, that's a great source.
Yeah, that's lovely, like spinach, isn't it?
Yeah, a great source of vitamins, minerals. You got, and again, as I was saying on the as I walked around, I did a little short of showing the beech nuts. So if it was a survival situation, as everything comes into its season, harvest it and harvest the hell out of it. The indigenous peoples all over the world have harvested acorns for thousands and thousands of years. In actual fact, it's well believed that before we managed to use grains and grasses to take our carbohydrates from, the acorn was used for years.
Wow.
Yeah, Jerusalem artichokes. Yeah, exactly that. And it's just it's that bit of knowledge, isn't it? If you have that bit of knowledge, you go out, you play with it, you experiment with it. Okay, once you've got that and you know what you're looking for, you know its stages of growth, you know its season, so you then look for the next thing. And you say, okay, so my Jerusalem artichokes they're gonna come into fruition. They're best at this time of year. What have I got before that? What have I got after it? And what essentially, and this is the important one, which months are my lean months, are my dead months, are my months of nothing? And those are the months that I've got to store for. So then your next process is figuring out preservation. Well, preservation's always come down to the three main systems. So it's going to be pickling, drying, or drying or smoking. Sorry, yeah, it's pickling, drying, and smoking. And again, as Caroline just pointed out there, think about your herbs as well. Okay, you don't want to live off a diet of just handfuls of garlic, but if you've
just wondering if they had them in America, because our woodlands arrived from the banks.
I would have thought so. I would have thought it was probably something that was carried out there, even if it wasn't already there. So yeah, so you start looking at what you can process, what you can use. You'll find them in almost every northern area. You're going to find throughout the world. There's nowhere in the world, in actual fact, now that they found it in Antarctica as well, there's nowhere in the world you won't find mycelium or fungi. Okay, so again, it's know your mycelium, your fungi, know what you can use. But again, I don't touch on that in my channel because I admittedly don't know enough about it. It's something that's always given me the chills. Probably because I had a childhood of being told, "Don't touch the bloody fungi, they're poisonous," and it set that block in my head. The same as other people get blocks about red berries, blackberries, things like that. So I'm always coming across it, but you can't eat red berries. All red berries are poisonous. No, not all red berries are poisonous. Some red berries are poisonous if you don't prepare them the right way. If you take something like the mountain ash or the rowan, okay, the red berries on that at this time of year, it's heaving with them. But you can't eat them raw; they're toxic. However, if you cook them, the toxin is cooked out of them, and they form a jelly, almost like a toffee when it cools.
It's nice and meat like cranberry, isn't it?
And it's a beautiful flavour. And at that point, you can carry it, and it will last for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it gives you a source of vitamin C and a source of sugar. It's just progressing all the time. It's just learn. And if you are lucky enough to have people around you with knowledge, ancient knowledge, old knowledge, it's worth grabbing. It's worth speaking to these people, asking them if they're prepared to share it with you. So again, simple tips: salmon berry leaves make incredible toilet paper, super soft. Yeah, it's all those little survival tips, and those, people always laugh at it. Toilet paper. Yeah, toilet paper is essential in a survival situation. Okay, got to keep yourself clean. Got to prevent those infections, that disease spread, that illness. So that sort of knowledge. Learn what plants produce soap. Okay, there's a lot of plant species out there that you can use to make soap out of, and again, it's going to help remove things. Which ones are antibacterial? Which ones are antimicrobial? And how do you process it to get the best out of that? And it's just local research, and this is a difficult thing for me with YouTube. Is I could sit there and go, right, do this, do this, do this, do this. That's fine for me here in my temperate northern European climate. But it's not going to work the same for Derek, who's in Oregon, or it's not going to work the same for John, who's in Louisiana. They're going to have different species, different plants, different techniques, different game, different risks. Okay, so and again, it's one of those things I'm aware of. I've watched a lot of people say, "No, you must do this, you must do that." Now, you can't do that. You can travel 50 miles in this world and go from one environment to another. You've got to be able to sort of cover what you can. And again, like I say, make friends with First Nation and Indigenous people. Learn from them. You know, a lot of these people have been passing down their knowledge for thousands of years. Okay, we are in the civilized, what they call the civilized world, and I hate that term because we're not civilized. You've only got to look at what's happening in the world today. But we've lost a lot of our information in the UK. Up until the 1950s, the main source of protein, the main source of meat for the ordinary working man was rabbit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moss.
Yeah. So there we go. Spag moss. See, sphagnum moss is a wonderful thing. It's almost like they went, right, we'll give you a bit of a multi-tool there. You can use it as a soap. You can use it for purifying water. You can use it as a filter. You can use it as an antibacterial agent. You can dry it, use it as a tinder. You can use it as a bedding sauce. You can grow mushrooms in it. You can grow up like almost anything in it. You can use it as a water retention system by putting it over your crops and it will hold the moisture in. On the other side of the coin, you can use it as water collection. You can have it out, take up a handful, wring it out, and you can use that to gather water. So yeah, sphagnum moss. I do love a bit of spaggy moss. It's nice to sleep on, soft. All you need is a nice bed of sphagnum moss, your bivvy bag, and that's it. You're sorted. Yeah, old man's beard. Yeah. So you don't get some. We do get it in some places in the UK, but only. And I'll go and see if when we were down Devon, I'll see if we get up to one of the ancient oak woodlands there. Some of those go back tens of thousands of years. You'll find it there, but a lot of other places in the UK you won't find it. Yes. Is there anything out there that anybody wants me to cook anytime when I'm doing any of my adventures and that? Is there anything anybody want to see prepared? I mean, within reason. I mean, well, I know we're going to be on a beef farm, but I don't think he'd be happy with me taking one of his cows. Things like bannock bread and that, I'm quite happy to revisit that and do that again if anybody wants to see it. We've got this week, hopefully, if the weather keeps on the way it is, we'll be able to have a fire up the woods, and me and Mac will be covering this hammock idea that we've got, sharing it with you. Yeah, I've got some fricks and some bratwurst.
And a tomato sauce and some curry powder.
Yeah, tomato sauce, curry powder, bratties, and fricks.
Oh.
Yeah, that will go viral for all reasons. Yeah, if we were in the States where they're the Asian carp, is it?
Yeah.
It's the Asian carp, the one that jumps, that's become a real invasive species.
And in the Czech Republic, they have it carp at Christmas.
Yeah, all through Europe, people eat carp, and through the Orient. Kept in the UK, the carp are protected because they're seen as a game fish, sport fish, isn't it? Game fish is eaten, sport fish is fishing. They're seen as a sport fish, and they're bred to some huge sizes. Any of you guys want to know about big carp? And God, I tell you what, that's a fight to get in. Have a chat to Mac. Big carp angling. But I know in the States they've wreaked absolute havoc in your waterways. And again, you bring a invasive species in, it's a nightmare. And I know a couple of the American lads said to me, they've tried it, they didn't like it. But the thing is, what you've got to do with carp, you need to catch them live and sit them in a tank of water for 24 to 48 hours, clean water, and purge them before you think about cooking them and eating them. Otherwise, they taste foul. Rotisserie chicken with baked potato.
Ooh.
So, Derek, you want me to make a rotisserie? Yeah.
Rotisserie chicken or spatchcock?
Or spatchcock. No, yeah. In fact, actually, Derek, if you're going to have one, you've got to have a spatchcock. Okay. I don't know if you've come across that one before. If you haven't, let me know and I'll knock up a spatchcock. Could do some crayfish, yeah.
That's not one of our invasive species, isn't it?
Yeah, so whereas you poor buggers out there got the invasive carp, we got the invasive American crayfish, which has wiped out pretty much our UK crayfish, and because it's got no real predators here, we've got no bass or anything like that will take the crayfish. Yeah, gone through our ecosystem like you wouldn't believe. They've become a bit of a nightmare.
Don't know spatchcock.
Don't know spatchcock. All right, okay, I'll do a spatchcock for you, Kaz. We will source a spatchcock. Derek, that's in a video coming up for you in next week or two. I will do a spatchcock for you. But basically, it is a small,
smallish chicken.
It's a small chicken. Going back to the days when a lot of people kept their own chickens, one of the breeds of chicken people kept in the UK was bantams, which are a small, very small breed. And again, basically plucked, gutted, cleaned, cut down the centre, spread out and opened out, and then the whole thing is cooked, right? Flipped over and cooked. Absolutely delicious with butter, garlic. Oh, yes. Yeah, and you can do it with a larger chicken as well. But again, traditionally, it was a way of doing small birds.
And you're more likely to have it completely cooked.
You're more likely to have it cooked. Squirrel, yeah, quite happy.
Squirrel.
Quite happy to have squirrel. Meat can be a bit tough on squirrels unless you're stewing it. Purely simply, energetic little buggers running up and down trees all day long. Oh yeah, spatchcock. It's got me. Do like that. Do like that.
It's wild herbs.
Wild herbs. Bit of wild garlic, some butter. Baste it.
Some stinging nettles.
A great way of cooking chicken on a grill. Absolutely superb. I've seen people doing beer can chicken and all the rest of it, but you don't need to do that. You take any chicken, you literally cut it through, open it out, and literally flatten it out and cook it that way. It's a lot better. Yes, cooks a little bit faster, heat penetrates better, and it makes a more juicy, well-cooked chicken without obviously having that risk that we have with all chicken, all fowl. You don't cook it properly, it's going to be a rough time. True rabbits. Yeah.
I've always wondered about a tree kangaroo.
Yeah. I remember my father telling me during a very rough time when he was a kid, they would go out and they'd set nets, which are highly illegal in the UK now, but they would set nets for the birds, and it was the birds that were being pest species for the soft fruit farms and that, and they would catch the birds and obviously they would kill them because they didn't want the finches and that getting in there. And he used to say that they were told, bring them all back, and they would bring all these small birds that they killed back. They would be plucked, cleaned, and cooked, and they would make a bird stew, and it would have all these different finches, thrushes, sparrows. These days, if you did that, you'd probably serve a long time in prison because they're protected species.
My father told me when he was a kid, they used to catch magpies and jackdaws and rooks, and just take the breast meat and make pies out of that.
Yeah, rook pie. That was another thing. Yeah, they do. It's I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't eat carrion birds." Right? Now, I don't shoot carrion birds. I don't shoot crows, rooks, jackdaws for a specific reason, and it's a personal thing. And the fact that I have one as a pet as a kid, and it was one of the most wonderful, intelligent birds I'd ever come across. I don't begrudge other people doing it. I just don't have the heart to do it myself. But I do know that in a survival situation I would, and I do also know that the only real good bit of meat on any bird like that is the breast. You take the breast off. So it's the same thing with pheasant. To be honest with you, if you're shooting pheasant for sport, the only thing worth having off of it is the breast anyhow, which is a bit of a waste. If you're having it for survival, you pluck it, you clean it, you keep the kidneys in it, you keep the liver, you use every bit that you can. Yeah, don't fancy that. Don't fancy that.
A lot of the Spanish salamis and that is donkey, isn't it?
Yeah. Trot horse once and give me the trots. You dumb bugger. Yeah. Yeah, I had horse fucking donkeys years ago. I was in Italy.
Like goat.
Goat, yeah. And again, see, there we go, long-term survival animals. This is another thing. If you're thinking about long-term... Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with belly pork, isn't it? I mean, I love a bit of belly pork and a bit of crackling. Love it. But, God, it sticks to you, doesn't it? So, you go, if you think about long-term survival, as I've said in the past, if it was something happened and you've made it through those first initial months of hell where everybody is trying to grab everything they can and the world's gone to pandemonium, right? If you can get rural enough, right, not every farm is still going to be manned. Not every piece of or animal is going to be still cared for, right? If you've got enough knowledge or common sense to start gathering these things as you go along, okay? If a guy evacuates his chicken farm with his family to go live with friends and his chickens are still on the farm, bag the chickens. Years and years ago, people would move chickens with them as they travelled. And they would literally put bands from the chicken's leg, then string them. And eventually the chickens get used to the fact that, okay, I'm allowed to walk, I'm allowed to move around, I'm fed regularly, I'm safe here, and the chicken will stay. It takes a bit of time for them to get used to the idea, but they will. Drovers used to move geese, chickens, ducks by their thousands across the UK using the drovers' trails and that. They would herd them. You've got goats. Goats are the ultimate resource animal. Okay, if there's one animal, you said to me, look, you can take one breeding pair, what are you going to take with you? It's always going to be a goat. Okay, they are resilient as hell. Okay, they can be a bit of a nightmare to care for in the fact that they're intelligent, and if they can get out, they will get out, and if they can eat it, they will eat it. But they are resilient as hell, and they will produce milk readily. That milk's a great source of protein. You're going to need it. You can also make goat's cheese, and you can make goat's cheese in a matter of hours. It's quite a simple process. So again, you've now got a way of preserving and keeping the protein from that goat in the form of cheeses. Then you can trade that. And then you've got, if you go and get a little bit more difficult, you've got sheep. So you move to sheep. And again, are they going to be out there? Yes, they are. Are they going to be struggling? They're probably going to be hungry. They're probably going to be weak. And that's the time to get them on side and take over. Cattle, that's a bit more difficult. But again, if you're strong, able, willing-minded enough, then you use the cattle and you take these things and you use them. I'm not saying you're necessarily going to raid a farm and do terrible things, but there will be stuff out there. Yeah. And again, so that's long-term survival, isn't it? It's everybody always thinks, and it's the difficulty is breaking the fantasy, the movie ideal. Okay, The Walking Dead. You know, you're out there surviving and you're doing well, and you're constantly living off of all these amazing tin foods that you're finding in every shop and supermarket. There's always something left there you can have. Look, invariably there won't be, because people will take pretty much anything. You've got to start then thinking outside the box. You've got to start thinking how you can adapt. But as I said to you in the past, if you're going to survive long term, you go back 200 years. You go back 200 years, live like the settlers did. Okay, they lived in adverse conditions. They lived with the constant risk of disease. They lived with constant risk of attack. They lived with constant risk from their own people, let alone anybody else. But they survived, and that's how we do it. So, what have I learnt this week? Well, one thing I've learnt this week, and this is something I'd like to say to everybody, is listen to your body. Okay. After seeing what happened to Phil, listen to your body. If you are going down, if you're feeling not right, get it checked out, for Christ's sake. Poor Phil, he had that bleed on the brain for 3 to 4 days before it actually got him to the point where he needed emergency aid and somebody come and got him. And he was in a hell of a mess.
Jason do a good goat curry.
Yeah, to get Jason to do a goat curry. Oh yeah, goat curry. And see, that's another thing. See, we have the Gurkhas here. They're goat curries. They cook their goat on the bone. Right, survival situation. Cook your meat. Yeah, the primal basics. If you're going to cook your meat on the bone. Okay, bone's full of marrow, full of calcium, full of vitamins, full of minerals.
You got oxtails, haven't you?
Yeah, one of my favourite things, one of my favourite winter foods is oxtail soup. Absolutely love that. Absolutely, or oxtail stew. I love that. You just cook it till the meat falls off the bone. You got all the gelatin and the cartilage. Yeah, it's all good stuff. And this is again, when I'm teaching courses, something I come across all the time. People, it's not just The Walking Dead. It's pretty much any sort of TV series that's based around the apocalypse, which is what people are frightened of. It's why they want to do the courses. Always just shows this utopian world where literally like every place you go to. Yeah, pig snout, pig's trotters,
pig
tails, the ears.
Yeah, pig cheeks.
Yeah, pig cheeks, yeah. Was it used to say that the only piece of the pig that you don't use is squeak? So again, that's all knowledge that's been lost. There was a time when people kept pigs themselves and they understood how to process them. But again, passed on father to son, father to son, father to son. Quite often when a pig was slaughtered, it was slaughtered as a community thing because the amount of meat there. So
I wonder if you take some ladies, gentlemen, and put them in the kitchen with some of the old foods, would they know what to do with it? It's not got the instructions on the packet.
Yeah.
They just don't know.
Yeah, we lost that ability. The modern world is sort of robbed us, really. It's robbed us of the knowledge because it's become so easy to pick it up from the shop. I've got an
amazing book. It's all 18th century recipes. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got a book, and it's all 18th century recipes, and it explains the terminologies that they used, and the things they were able to make that some people nowadays wouldn't be able to do. But if we could pass on some more of the knowledge of cooking, the more unusual things for people today, then I think we'd use more and be a lot better off.
Yeah, we would be a lot better off, especially this time where things are tight. It's, you think we've gone after the Second World War. We went through a period of being rich, didn't we? We went through a period of being rich, wealthy. You could buy anything you wanted from the shop. Pre-Second World War. For those of you guys that have not in the UK, if you have a look on YouTube, look for a TV series called Out of Town. Now, that was done by a guy called Jack Hargreaves in the 60s. And he worked in the countryside as a boy, grew up in farming and that. Went away during the Second World War, served right the way through the Second World War, and come back. And one of the things he was always hitting on was how before he left for the war, all the farming in the UK was pretty much done with horsepower. And when he came back, all the farming was done with tractors. In that 5-year period, the whole world changed. We went from keeping rabbits, keeping pigs, keeping goats, keeping chickens, to being able to buy it. Yeah. And that ability to buy it led to supermarkets. Supermarkets have gained so much power. Oh, aren't they powerful? It's I don't know about the States, but in the UK, when I was a boy, you had set shopping days, almost to the point where all shops shut Wednesday afternoon early. Okay, because they were open Saturdays.
And we always had
so you had half-day closing on a Wednesday, and usually that was the market day afternoon. Yeah. So you then had the market that afternoon in your town. Saturday shops were open till around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and shops weren't open on a Sunday. Okay, Sunday was seen as a day of rest. It was a day for families and people, no matter your religion. That didn't come into it. It was a day where people played sports, soccer, football, rugby, cricket. It's where communities got together, families got together. Obviously, those that were religious, they went and did their practices. And then in the evenings, yes, the local pub would open, but it was a later opening time. They weren't allowed to open until 7 o'clock. I can remember standing outside my local waiting for it to open. And then the supermarkets sort of, we could do late evening opening, and that would be better for people working. And then we could do all day Saturday opening, and we don't need this Wednesday half day closing. And do you know what? We could open on Sundays. And people went, oh, that'd be brilliant. We can get to the shops. But it eroded something. It eroded something from society. And then as time went on, people stopped looking at Sunday as a day of rest. It becomes a normal working day, and it's no longer important anymore. It's got no protection. So it eroded that out of society. That one day a week, when I first started working, you knew you weren't going to be working on a Sunday unless you were an essential service. And if you did have to work on a Sunday, you got bloody well paid for it. It was, but that's all gone. And that's gone because the supermarkets, they stole that, and it became a way of life now that literally 7 days a week. What's special about a Sunday? Nothing. Not in the UK anymore. It's just seen as another working day, which is a shame. It's a shame for the little man on the bottom that has lost that set weekly pattern where he knew, and his children knew, and his wife knew. One day a week, you could have a special meal. You spend time together as a family. You could enjoy that, and that's a bit of a shame, my friend. And again, this guy highlights that.
Because no one goes blackberrying anymore.
No.
You used to always do that.
Oh, well,
come home, purple hands.
Yeah.
Ripped to pieces from the
brambles. Again, wasn't that a weekend thing, wasn't it? Yeah. It was, you went blackberry picking, elderberry picking, you went damson picking. Then you spent the day as a family making jams or making pie. I'm making blackberry and apple pie for a Sunday tea. And I was lucky. I was a very, very lucky kid in the fact that my mum, every Sunday, we got a cracking meal. Okay, now my mum's a vegetarian. She's quite a strict vegetarian. Never stopped her cooking meat for me and my brothers and my father. Yeah, or making wine. Yeah. Yeah, Campbell's soup. Campbell's cream and mushroom soup or cream and chicken soup added to anything is a meal. You're bloody right there. I can remember that myself. Yeah. Yeah, so we always had something, whether it was rabbit, whether it was, if we were lucky, chicken. Yeah. But then it was, your mum would make a pie. That would be the highlight of the Sunday. Yeah, it would be the highlight of the Sunday. And there's nothing more satisfying than taking something that you source from the wild and producing something like your wine. How satisfying is it to you when you crack open a bottle of that wine and it's gone well and you pour it out and you enjoy it? We're losing all these, or they tried to lose this. And people say to me, "Oh, it's all going." It's not. It's coming back. People want to know. 10, 15 years ago, when I first, when I say first, I've been doing this most of my life, but when I first sort of started talking to friends and family, because at one point it was a bit of a weirdo thing, this whole, camping, why don't you go to Spain for a week, go and enjoy that. So it was very rare that you had people talk about it. Well, why go blackberry? You can buy them in B Jam for £1 bag for next to nothing. Well, we had the money then. So it all went away. But now, I reckon if I wasn't looking after Kaz and I could get myself a nice little area, as Mac was saying, set up a little campsite, I could probably run courses 4 to 5 days a week. And have 4 or 5 people a day in on a course, because the amount of people that want to rewild, they want to learn these things. Because it's almost like people getting a sniff of the future. Things aren't going to get better; they're going to get tougher, and they want that resilience. They want to know, well, what can I get? I can no longer afford to go get blackberries from Asda; they're too expensive. So where do I get them? Well, you source them from wild, you pick them from wild. But I've never been blackberry. What do they look like? What have I got to be careful? How do I preserve them? How do I make blackberry jam? You say to people, you find crabapple tree. Simple bit of knowledge as a kid was blackberries, crabapples, blackberry jam. You got the pectin that you need for making that jam from the crabapples. And people sit there and they go, "Hey, what's pectin?" That's the setting agent that sets the jam and helps it to preserve. Oh,
used to take boys to that old pear tree.
Yeah, pear trees, trout tickling. Yeah, definitely. I'll take on foraging. And one of the difficulties is, unfortunately, there's I'm all for foraging. I'm all for subsisting and that. I'm all for it. I really am. It's just that some of my areas are now getting pretty much raped for everything that's there.
Especially mushrooms, because there's big money in it.
Yeah, that's the other thing I get peeved with. Yeah, when I worked for the MOD, a 1,700 acres of land that was an Ministry of Defence training area that I looked after, and the public had access to walk around it. And I would regularly find gangs of 20 or 30 people picking the fungi, and they would just literally go through. They wouldn't just take the odd one or two that they wanted. They would go through, and the whole lot goes in a van, and it'd go to restaurants in London.
The same near it. When we're going uptown, there's some blackberries, huge blackberries, but they're right next to the road.
Simple foraging, simple skills. Once upon a time, we're a way of life. It's how we led our lives in the UK. This is another one for you. I learned from a gamekeeper as a boy. So this gamekeeper used to go out and he would spend the spring and the early summer walking every footpath, every field, every hedgerow on his beat. Okay, every single one with a notebook, and he would be pacing all the time. And I said to him one day, "What? Why do you do that?" He said, "Well," he said, "I've got all my wild pheasants out here, all the ones that didn't get shot last year that have bred, and I'm spotting their nests." And he would walk and he would pace, he would count every pace and he would note, and he could literally tell you where every nest with pheasants' eggs in was. And then at the right time, he would go round and he would collect every single egg and he would take them away and he'd incubate them and he would bring those on. And that was how he stocked his pheasant pens. Nowadays, the pheasant chicks are bought as week-old, 2-week-old chicks and shipped in their hundreds of thousands out to the shoots, and then they're brought on from there. But in the old days, and these guys, in doing that, not only could he tell you where every pheasant's nest was, he could tell you where every fox run was, where every badger set was, where every rabbit was, where the blackbirds were nesting, where the fruit berries were, where the herbs were growing, where the elderflower was, and how it was doing. Because again, he was in tune with nature. Okay, that simple love, honesty, and balance, and working with it rather than against it. And again, that takes generations. He didn't just learn that in a few weeks. That was something that had been passed on to him by his father, who had been a gamekeeper, and somebody before that, or he had been apprenticed as a young man at 14 to a gamekeeper, and he would have probably spent the first 5 to 10 years of his trade literally following that guy around, learning those skills. Yeah, there's jars with the paper covering an elastic band.
Yeah.
Oh, can't remember raiding a few of those as a kid. Got in trouble for that. So the only preserve I cannot eat, and I'm not got so bad now. I can say it, but I still can't see it. If I walk through the supermarket and there's a jar of it on the side, I literally have to do that because it will make me ill. Is lemon curd. And that is because as a kid, I pinched a gallon jar of lemon curd, hid with a spoon, and ate the jar. And that was, I had a whole gallon jar of lemon curd in an afternoon. And don't get me wrong, quarter of the way through it, I knew I didn't want to eat any more, but I knew I had it. And something in my little kid's head said to me, the only way that they'll not know that you had it is if you eat it all. If you eat it all when it's gone, they'll never know. And so I hid, and I spent the whole afternoon with this spoon forcing this stuff down me. Well, funny enough, they noticed something was wrong with me when I walked into the house that evening. My colour was different. My dad actually said to me years later, he said to me, "You were the colour of the lemon curd. You'd gone yellow." He said, "You were in a hell of a mess." And they were sort of, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" And I started to be ill. And next thing I know, I'm up the hospital. And then they decided that they thought I might have eaten poisonous berries or something, because I was rolling around in agony, groaning and that. And of course, I wasn't going to say, "Oh, I ate the lemon curd." So they stomach pumped me, at which point it was pretty obvious what I'd eaten. That's not an experience you want to go through, but either the stomach pumping or the removal of that lemon curd. So yeah, I've never been able to look at it. Hi Ray, how you doing?
Hi,
Good
Ray.
to see you, mate. Yeah, had a good week, slightly busy. Just that you know, Phil Burson, who's regularly with us, unfortunately is in hospital at the moment. He is recovering and it is looking good, but poor bugger's had a bleed on the brain. So I've been a bit busy this week, helping his wife get to and from central London to see him. Just been a bit of a charge around. Oh, bread and butter pudding. I see you love bread and butter pudding, don't you?
I love it. And bread pudding. But
yeah,
bread and butter pudding.
Lard, yes. See, there you go, Derek. Yeah. Yeah, they don't eat the fat, it'll kill you.
It's got all the flavours.
And again, I get into that argument with people all the time. Okay, fat does not kill you. Lack of exercise kills you. Okay, if you're burning the fat off, if you're having an amount of fat that your body can handle, process and use on a daily basis, you will find a balance. The other thing with the fats is, where's all the goodness stored in an animal? Where's all the extra vitamins, minerals, energy, and everything
off, don't they?
stored?
It's just got this red piece of meat.
It's like, I'm sorry if there's anybody vegetarian now, it's like steak. I can't eat lean steak. I'm afraid my steak of choice for me is a ribeye, and I want to see a good bit of marbling in it. You know, that's just me. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I know some people don't want the fat on there, and I quite agree. But I'm sorry, if it comes to a survival situation, take that fat. And our ancestors knew, so they would collect the animal fat, the lard, okay, and they'd use the lard for preserving. You can preserve things in lard. Pemmican. Now there's a lost art, something you don't see anymore.
Candles.
Yeah. So pemmican was beef fat, right? And the trimmings. So it was the meat that was trimmed off with the fat. And it would just be small flecks of fat and meat. Sorry, they would trim the lard, which is the chest and the stomach fat from the beef cattle at slaughter. In so doing, you ended up with a bit of meat on it, and it would just be trimmings, but that was left with the lard. Okay, and to that was added things like nuts, sugars, berries, fruits, anything you could find, anything that you could, especially if you could dry it. So you take apples, they would cut apples in slices, dry the apple, cut that into pieces. That would go into the pemmican. Okay, and the lard helped preserve it. But again, as a survival food, you're then ingesting the fats, which is great energy, great sources, great fuel for the body. You're getting the fruits, you're getting the nuts, you're getting the proteins, you ingest everything you need. Yeah, Ray, to me, best cut is ribeye. I do love it.
That's true, Matt. Yeah.
White sugar is bad. And again, you need sugars in a level, but the problem is we get too much of it. And again, it's that finding that balance. It's like people are always a bit thrown when I say, well, you know, so my mum was a vegetarian, she's a strict vegetarian. And I've come to realise I don't need to eat meat every day. So I don't eat meat every day. Quite often I will go 2-3 days with no meat. And it's not a case of, I'm being veggie. No, my body just finds it a bit difficult to process meat every single day. So quite often my diet will consist of things like oats. I can't buy porridge, but a bit of granola in the morning. I will have a slice of toast. I will have nuts, fruits, berries, trail mix. Love trail mix. I hate peanuts. Or no, love roasted salted peanuts. Hate plain peanuts. I just find them a horrible taste. But I'll have a trail mix, and I normally make my own, and it's normally almonds, walnuts, hazelnuts, any dried fruit that I can get my hands on goes into it, and that's my trail mix. Peanut butter, okay, peanut butter, absolutely brilliant survival food. Okay, so I was reading an article, but I can't remember the woman's name. She was a French nurse. Now, this nurse was a genius, okay? Absolute genius. She had been dealing or working with, it was an African country, and it was a state of famine. And she was just a volunteer nurse, and she's trying to save these little kids, okay? They're coming in, poor little blighters, distended stomachs, starving to death, on the edge of death, okay? And it didn't matter what they did. Give them milk, give them food, give them bland stuff, give them small amounts. They were still dying. Couldn't figure it out. And then one day, out of just desperation of trying to sort things out, she gave this child a spoon of peanut butter. And the child was able to keep the peanut butter down. Maybe was able to keep the peanut butter down, but within hours she could see a difference in the child. So she tried it again and again and again, and it worked. now a standard procedure in a famine situation for saving these children is peanut butter. Okay, peanut butter. What, the allergy poison? You mean peanuts? You mean the poison? And oh no, you can't give them that because they might be allergic. Well, you know, but it works, and it's given us a standard saviour for these children now. It's one of the few things that, for whatever reason, and I don't know the science behind it, but the body seems to process it. Look at ration packs, peanut butter. Oh yeah, the amount of guys that I've worked with in the past when they're talking about their fucking dash kit. Basically, a dash kit is a kit, basically like a semi belt order for certain units, shall we say. And some of the older guys that I used to work with have their dash kit, which was literally a pouch with what they needed just to keep them functioning. Okay, it was as much as possible in as small space as possible, and it was sachets of peanut butter, sachets of jam. Okay, these guys weren't working on a process that I want a meal that's going to fill my stomach. They were working on a process that I need fuel for this machine to keep this machine going for as long as possible. So it was literally sachets of jam, get that down your throat, sachet of peanut butter, get that down your throat, and keep going, keep going. And they always used to say the only problem with the peanut butter was obviously you got a mouthful of peanut butter, you really need a drink with it. Oh, sorry, Stephen. Jelly deals can't do. Every time I like eel. I will eat eel, cooked eel. Yeah, not a problem. Love the eel. It's the jelly. Okay, I just look at it and see Swarthega. It's as simple as that. It's just, it's got to be something. Again, father being a mechanic, growing up on a farm, handfuls of Swarthega. At some point, I'd probably put a handful of Swarthega in my mouth, and it made me ill because if I, no. But eel, yeah, I love eel. And again, it's another great source of food. Easy to catch as well. Got quite a dab hand at eeling over the years. Whether it be never really did it with an eel spear, but making up eel lines and doing eel nets and making eel traps and that. Yeah, I've done a fair bit of that in the time. Easy way of gaining food. Tripe. Don't get me wrong. Well, it used to call tripe the invalid's food, wasn't it? It was given to people that were very, very ill because it was. I tried tripe and onions once, and I just, no, not for me. Sorry.
It reminds me of
I never made ramen bombs. I made ramen. I do like my ramen, but yeah, I've never made ramen bombs. This sounds interesting. That's got me tweaked now. Export engineer, ramen and bombs. Well, that sounds interesting.
The Chippy used to go to and have the beanies, the balls of baked beans.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you have come across that before. I still can't figure out how the hell they did it. The local fish and chip shop that we used to make something called a beanie. So it was like about the size of a cricket ball, so softball size, about yay big. Deep fried. And it would be a perfect ball of baked beans with a batter coating, deep fried. And I still can't. I don't know whether they put it in a mold, froze it, roll it in the batter, deep fried it. What they did, but
because you try putting beans in it, or
powdered mashed potatoes and ramen. Give it a go. Try anything once. If it doesn't hurt me, I won't say it. Try anything once. If it doesn't hurt me or penetrate me, I'm quite prepared to give it a go. I'll get myself into trouble.
Yeah, Derek, our favourite mash over here is Idaho mash.
Love it. Beef tripe soup stew. Yeah, again, see, simple food, isn't it? It's. I mean, when I say I don't like tripe, it's because the way I had tripe served to me was literally it is boiled to death in water and then served with boiled onions. And I don't like boiled onions. And I can tell you the story behind that because I know exactly what that is. Okay, so my grandmother, she passed, bless her, when I was 9. Okay, so my memories of her are quite young. And they're all good memories. Okay, there wasn't a bad memory about her apart from her cold cure. Okay, so as soon as any kid in the house, or even it could be a kid 2 miles away, had a cold, that was it. Out come the Spanish onions, and she would take a whole Spanish onion, right, with the skin on, and then boil it. And when I say boil it, she would boil it for hours. And the idea of leaving the brown skin on was it held its shape. And then this thing would get plonked in front of you on a plate. And the brown skin would be taken off. So you're left with this translucent onion sat there. And she would stand over you and go, right, you'll eat all that. And she would make you eat it so that you didn't catch cold. And I love onions. I love onions fried. I love onion. I'll even eat raw onion. Not a problem with that. I love raw onion. Boiled onion, it's not the taste, it's the texture. It's just got a sliminess about it that I just can't do. And that's yeah, Idaho mash. Yeah, do like that. Again, this is another great. If you're building your stores, and that's something I would suggest people start thinking about. This is one of my tips to you guys: start putting stuff away. You know, even if it's only
tin potatoes,
one tin a week, or 1 pack a week. You know, start putting stuff away. Find yourself a small cupboard somewhere. Start putting it away. Build that reserve for the emergency. Look at your dates, and let's face it, most tin goods can go years beyond their storage dates. But it's a case of just build up that reserve little by little. You'd be surprised how quickly it builds up. And then if you do hit a situation, you get another world lockdown. You get I don't know. Some situation arises somewhere where things go a bit crazy and you have to rely on what you've got stashed. You've got that reserve because God, it's never going to come at a time of plenty. You're never going to have something happen. Spam.
We get yes. Bacon grill as well.
Spam and bacon grill. In actual fact, I'll just round you. Yep. I'll leave you with Kaz chatting to you for a second. There we go.
Yes, Mac, we've got 2 cans of the bacon grill at the moment. You still don't think you got it?
Can't find it. Chop him. There we go. I'm coming back. I'm on my way.
We have got bacon grill.
Yeah, bacon grill. You know, chopped pork and ham. You go, corned beef.
I love corned beef.
You know, corned beef, potatoes.
I used to like spam at school. Spam in batter.
Yeah, it's and again, see, building up emergency supplies. When I'm teaching people, I'm teaching when I talk to people about building up their supplies. I always say to them, don't buy the things you love. Okay, I've learned it from my own experience over years. If you buy something, you think I really enjoy that, so I'm going to buy 4 tins of that and I'll put it away for an emergency. Yeah, it'll be gone before the end of the month. Right? Not unless you're very, very, very strict with yourself. So you buy the things. Don't buy things you detest. Buy the things you like. Do you know what? Yeah. Pork and ham. Nah. Take it, leave it.
Curry's powder.
But you stick that in the cupboard. But if the shit hit the fan, shouldn't say that. Sure, I'm not allowed to swear. If the poo hit the fan, okay, that's protein. It's not the best protein in the world. It's processed meat, but it's meat. Okay, so that 1 tin of cheap beans,
mashed potato on top,
some mashed potato. It's a meal. It's getting something into you. It's that cooked with a bit of curry powder or a bit of brown sauce. It's what can keep you going in an emergency. And it's built and build that reserve up. It's easy to do. Things like dry rice, pasta. Okay, stores for donkey's years. Okay, don't ever worry about the dates on it. As long as you keep it dry, you keep it out of sunlight, and you keep it at an even temperature, it will last for donkey's years. And again, it's carbs, it's fuel. I don't have a huge store, but I know if push comes to shove, we'd probably do 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
2 to 4 weeks, depending on the situation. 2 weeks comfortably, 4 weeks, yeah, we would be eking it out. Yeah, and you dropped things, so you dropped to 1 meal a day. Again, it's all I was talking about the rations when I was showing the long-term survival kit. Okie doke, so an initial 24-hour food supply for me in a pack, i.e., I'm looking at getting home. I know I'm going to be home in a day. Okay, so I've got 3 meals in that pack. Okay, that's the way I think of it. 3 meals is what I'd like to eat normally. That's what I'll carry with me. In an emergency situation, if it goes to a long-term situation, 1 meal a day. That's 3 days. Okay, my 48-hour pack has 6 meals in it. Right, that's now 9 days. When I tie that onto my what I call my sundries, things like biscuits, fruit, other little bits and pieces, right? By rationing it out, I can then push myself even further. I'd never have to want to go as far as my mate Tomo, who actually turned around at one point and said, "You know what? For the last week, all I've allowed myself 2 biscuits brown a day, and to make them a bit more edible, I put toothpaste on them."
Oh.
Right, so he was using biscuits brown and putting a bit of toothpaste on it, but it got him by.
It's like making using porridge oats and get some tinned fruit, making some sort of flapjack, like something sweet, make you feel good.
Yeah, and having a little rewards. Boiled sweets, great for energy and all the rest of it. To me, yeah, I know.
Matt's daughter, not so much.
Matt's daughter, not so much. But my boiled sweets, straight out the ration packs. I put them in there.
My day when she's older.
My day packs and my car packs. Each one's got a handful in it. They're just sugar with some sort of chemical flavouring, and they're rewards. So I don't use them for energy. I use that as a reward. It's at the end of the day, I'm sitting there and I've slogged it out, and I'm thinking to myself, God, that meal's going to keep me going overnight. What do I have now? And I'm out in my smokes. I thought I'm just going to sit here and suck my sweet for half an hour. Okay, it's a reward. It's a simple reward, and it gives you something to look forward to. And you set your times, and your next goal for the next day is to get to the point where you can enjoy that sweet. And before you know it, that's what you're focusing on. And instead of sitting there thinking, "Oh, this is a long way to go. It's a long walk," you're focusing on that end. And it takes a little bit of effort to do it, and it ain't easy. But yeah, look for those little bits of rewards. And this, yes, as you say, Derek, the spirit. Okay. The mental aspect of survival is the hardest and yet the easiest. And again, it's knowledge. Knowledge is what pulls you through. If you go and learn, you study. I know you don't. I mean, you have to go and do courses. You don't have to go and find experts. You go and you learn. You speak to people. You meet people all the time. They go, "Do you know what? Where I come from, we do it like this." Oh, brilliant! Show me. And then I watch how they do it. And the amount of times I've then looked at their technique and gone, "Do you know what? That's fantastic. I, as a kid, was a knot nut, right? Every type of knot you could do. And the more fancy, the better, okay? The more fancy that knot was, and the more I could show off with it, the better. And nowadays, okay, I probably only use one knot in pretty much all situations, or a variation of one knot. And it's quite simple. Form a loop, form another loop, pull it through, form another loop, put it over as a stopper. That will hold anything I want it to hold. I can release it easy enough, or I can cinch up on it, come round, form another loop. If I need to secure that loop and I don't want that second loop to go, push the tail through it, okay? It can't go anywhere. And that's just the simplest overhand loop knot that you could ever do. Yet it works for 99.99% of the stuff I do. Okay, it's adapted into the trucker's hitch. It's just simple. But again, as a kid, I got fascinated by knots, and I thought the more fancy they are, the better. And then with experience and time, it actually came down to no, really, is find something simple that works. But again, always look at other people's ideas. Log hitches, horse hitches, all that sort of thing, they all work. And again, know the difference between a hitch and a knot. Okay, so yeah, a knot never comes undone. That's why it's called a knot. Okay, a hitch can be released because it's only designed to hitch something to an item. So yeah, it's a funny old thing. And I never knew that until I read that in an article. Why is it called a knot? Right, because it's not meant to come undone. It's like, bloody hell, old English, simple thing. Mental strength, will, determination, knowledge, every single tool that you can carry, all the essential tools weigh nothing. Right? Without those essential tools, you are screwed. Okay? Lady Luck, she weighs nothing. Okay? But you back Lady Luck up with the knowledge. So, you take the story I told several months ago about the young lady that was blown out of an aircraft at 10,000 feet over the Amazonian rainforest. So she gets pulled out of an aircraft at 10,000 feet, drops 10,000 feet to the Amazonian rainforest floor, shatters her shoulder, is almost blind. She can't see. She has to feel her way along the ground. Okay, she's got multiple injuries, and she spends weeks crawling through the forest floor, and she survives. Yeah. Could be a jar. Mental strength is often overlooked. Okay. Um, yeah, human spirit. It's a wonderful thing. And you can nurture that. I do it, nurture it, try and do good things. Good things come back. Okay. I'm a great believer in karma. Okay. Some people say I'm a bit of a Burke for it. Okay. But I believe in karma. I believe if you put good energy out, you try to do good by people, you try and do good things come back. Okay. Even if it's just the fact that somebody at some point when you're stuck or you're on your uppers remembers it and goes, he's a good guy, I'll help him out. You know.
Definitely do. Gummy bears.
Yeah. It is all mental. Yeah. Yeah. Find people you trust. Find people that you can work with. You know, it's me and Mac. Yeah, one night when we all get together, sitting around a campfire, and we're in a situation we can tell some tales that can't be told on the web. Me and Mac, when we first met one another, no, we'd known one another for years, but not as tight buddies, was it? We'd known one another. So, you all right, mate? How's it going? And that's it. And then I went to work for Mac, and I started working for Mac, and then yeah, just through the fact that I'm an honest individual and I say shit as I see it, he realised he could trust me, and he got to know me, and I worked for him for many years, and there was quite a few people could never get their head around me and Mac, because in a lot of ways we're very different people, okay, or were very different people. Turns out we're not. We're actually so alike, it's twins. Ridiculous, okay. But through our lives and our careers and the personas that we'd carried with us and the personas that we've put out, we to the outsiders were absolute opposites. Yet when it came down to how we grew up, our life experiences, how we saw the world, what we were taught as kids, the information and knowledge we had, turned out we were almost like twins. It always used to make me laugh, and other people used to stand there and go, "When I get here, what's he saying you? What is it about you?" And I just smile and look at them and they go, "You're a bit of a scary cunt, you are. Don't know what to make of you." Oh, sorry about the language. I swore. Oh, beep. It's a bit late. Sorry, I do apologise for that. But yeah. Yeah. So again, find people you know you can trust, you can love, that got your back.
People with mental health are the people that have tried to be too strong.
Exactly that. Mental health. With mental health, it's invariably the strong people that break. It's the strong people that have been strong for others, that have always pulled through, the fighters. It's people that are in quite often high pressure, high risk, high energy careers and jobs that snap. I've had it happen close to me and my family recently, where somebody I'd always seen in my entire life as one of the strongest individuals I'd ever met, who never seemed to break no matter what, hit the wall. Yeah, love that saying. One is none, two is one. One of my other favourite sayings, and I've used it for years and years and years, and I did pick it up from a US Marine, not from the film. I picked it up years beforehand in a shooting competition when I was actually speaking to a guy, and he was a US Marine Corps, and I was remarking on his system of shooting. And he just looked at me and he said, "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast." And that blew my mind, because when I actually went away and sat down and thought about it, it's right. Okay. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's 100%. You start to panic, you start to fluster, you start to try and do it quicker, you start to overcorrect, you start to go completely wrong. Slow it down, take that breath, cycle the bolt, gain your target, look at your sight picture, take the breath, hold it, squeeze, release, move on to your next target. As simple as that. And my shooting went from good to, without being cocky, and I don't wish to be cocky, there's not many things in this world I'm damn good at, but yeah, I'm a good shot. So, yeah, there's some great sayings like that out there, isn't it? Yeah, and there are all these sayings are life lessons. Don't run before you can walk. Okay. It's all those sayings, all that information that we've passed on. And you know, funny enough, a lot of it from grandparents and things like that, wasn't it? So all the old sayings, you know, don't put your finger in a light socket. It's good information, good knowledge.
My favourite is she's got more swing than a cart horse.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what? And that's another thing I suppose I'll look into. Is there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rhymes for young people, kids, and things like that, used for knowledge throughout the centuries. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. You and your honey badgers.
What would the honey badger do? Yeah. Derek,
I do.
You'll probably get what I mean. You see the impact before you squeeze the trigger. It's that knowledge that you visualized it, you've seen it, you know what's going to happen. And
I find that my calming thing is candles. I like to look into a candle and imagine the light of the candle coming up and surrounding me and sort of give me some sort of protection or cleansing. It's
meditative.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the video this week with the deer. You know, it's 15 meters from that deer. You know, initially I didn't see it. Okay, but I'm moving slowly and quietly. I was actually looking for bilberries at the time, so I am hunched over. I've got a hat on, and I'm looking for the bilberries, and I just get this. I don't know. I can't explain it to people. It's sometimes you just got sort of like your instincts go, "There's something there." And what I've learned over the years is to just stop. As soon as my brain goes, or I get the feeling there's something there, just stop, and then slowly start to look up. But I look under my eyes. Don't show my face. Don't show my eyeballs. This silhouette. I look out from underneath, and then I start to come up and look. And at first, I knew where it was, but couldn't quite make it out. The sunlight was right on it, and then it just took a step forward, and I was like, "Oh!" Now, in a survival situation, 15 meters, that deer, with the right equipment, whether it be a bow, whether it be a rifle, if it was a survival situation, simple shot. And I watched the video back afterwards, and I went, you know what? There was at least 10 good, clean shots there that I could have made. Okay, that's enough satisfaction for me. That's in that making that video is exactly what I was saying the other week. It's for me these days. I don't need that deer as food. If I did need that deer for food, then yeah, no two ways about it. The fact that I was able to get my camera out of the pouch on my belt, set my camera to video mode, bring the camera up and film the deer without it being disturbed by me, just said to me, that's it. That's the stalk, and that's where the skill is. If you're hunting, that's where the skill is. It's all about the stalk. There's a great, what was that fishing series? There was a series of fishing programs made for British TV. I don't know if it made it out to the rest of the world. It was two anglers that used to go out together. Back in the 80s. 80s and 90s. One used to fish like old style techniques that you just centre pin reels and things, and the other guy used to fish modern techniques. Bob Yates and was it Bob Yates? What was it called? They had a saying. Okay, it's not about the catching; it's about being there. Yeah. Do you know what? I've never seen the Deer Hunter. Never seen it. Never seen it.
What's going to bug me now, that one series?
Eh?
It's going to bug me now.
Passion for Angling.
That
was it. Passion for Angling. And these two guys used to go out and they would get some. That's it. Max got it exactly the same time.
Twins.
These guys used to get some of the most beautiful footage. Yeah, I've never seen the Deer Hunter. Do you know what? Yes, it will shock a lot of you. Do you know what? Until I was probably
20?
mid-teens, I didn't watch TV, apart from very odd occasions. And then from my 20s, I started watching TV, movies, and that with Caroline. Yeah, you'd recommend it, right? The Deer Hunter.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen it.
Okay, we'll look into that. I tell you, I watched a movie last night. Bloody hell! Chris Yates, that's it. Yeah, Chris Yates and Bob. Oh, what's his name? Bob. Yeah, Out of Town, Jack Hargreaves, wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful stuff. Now, I watched a movie on Netflix last night. And when I was first watching the introduction of the film, I thought, oh, it's done half remind me of the old spaghetti westerns. And do you know what? That film, it was like a modern. It was almost like Sergio Leone had gone out and done a spaghetti western based around the Second World War. Now, it gone out with all today's technology, filming, and all the rest of it. And it was a bloody good film. Made in the Czech Republic. Can't remember who the director was. Couldn't pronounce it either. But it's called Blood and Gold. Okay. Bloody good film. Bloody good film. And I'll say to you, Sergio Leone could have made that film. It was absolutely brilliant. In fact, you will notice all the way through the film there are little nods to various spaghetti westerns. Okay. So if you get Matt Hayes and Mick Brown, yeah. If you get a chance to watch it, who's at Wagner's Wells? I know Wagner's Wells very, very well.
Is he the one that ran off his mate's wife? That the other way around.
I can't remember which way around it was.
Oh, Father Goose! I've watched that so many times. That bloke on an island.
Yeah.
And he ends up with a French teacher with loads of schoolgirls. And yeah.
Adult movie?
No. Yes. No. Very good, because he don't want no one on his island, and they're hiding from the Japanese. Very good.
No, Blood and Gold was about a. The one we watched last night was about a Germans
and SS officer, wasn't it?
It was about a German soldier towards the end of the Second World War, and that was. Yeah, I won't go into any more. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I will say, bloody good film. Bloody good film. Don't know how correct it was. Don't know how accurate it was. Don't know if it was based on anything exactly, but the theme was there. Yeah, well worth a watch. Blood and Gold on Netflix at the moment.
Do you want to do a video with him?
He's good mates with Chili.
Ah.
Well, I'd like to meet him and shake his hand, because I tell you what, he was a guy that could, the footage that they used to get, and that phrase, it's about being there. Okay, it's about the moment. It's
climbing trees to see the carp in the water.
Any good outdoors country person, hunter, fisherman, or not even, understands that phrasing. It's about being there. It's that moment. It's that absolute moment where you suddenly, for sometimes just a few seconds, sometimes for minutes, and occasionally, if you're really lucky, for an hour or two, you become one with nature. Forgotten Battle. I'll keep an eye for that one. There's a lot of good stuff coming out on Netflix, and I've been lucky over the years to do a fair bit of work with Netflix in another role. Not an actor or anything like that. And yeah, got to meet a few famous people, but I'm not allowed to say anything. But I met one or two of my heroes as well, which quite blew my mind, that is. Yes, do like Netflix.
Any future talks?
Right, now, is there anything... Right, yeah, I'm going to wind this... That's 2 hours. I'm going to wind this up in a minute. And I'm sorry it's been a bit slow tonight. It's been a hellish week, one way or another, emotionally and physically, trying to stay strong for friends and that, and look out for them and make sure they're all right, as well as do everything else I've got to do. Now, so in the future, in the near future, me and Mac are going to clear off to Dartmoor, and we're going to review this site, and we're also going to have a bit of a wild camp down there. We're looking forward to getting together with Mac's mate, Chili. I am, Derek, trying to think of ways in the next year or two that I can get over to you. And I'd like to get over with Mac next year. But we'll sort all that sort of stuff nearer the date. Is there anything anybody would like to see? What sort of subjects would you like me to cover on the live chat?
Doing your hammocks,
is there any particular videos you want to see? Is there any techniques or systems that you want, or any videos that I've done in the past that you'd like me to revisit, go over, kit, go through it again, or show you it? And I'll be honest with you, kit for me is constantly adapting, and it is about constant adaptation. So something I might set up for the winter will be completely different to the summer, so on and so on and so on. So it's quite funny when people say, "Oh, could you get out of such and such kit?" Well, as you see from behind me,
bits coming, haven't you, as well?
It's not packed away, and I have the military mindset pack out. It's beautiful. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. And again, it's just ideas. Now, I've gone mad. I kept seeing this new cheapo marketplace thing, Temu. So I've gone mad. I bought a load of kit. The intel and the reasonings. Yeah, we'll go through that. I can do that. Yes. Okay, yeah, we can do that. So I bought a load of kit from Temu, and it's just little items that I wanted to see what they were like.
20 quid.
I allowed myself a budget of 20 quid or £20. Went to £20. Bought some little bits and pieces. They should be coming this week, and then we can... Yeah. Oh, yeah, me and Mac have got some plans there. Yeah, because the interesting thing for me and Mac, both got military backgrounds, okay, but from two different sides completely, okay. And we've both got country lad backgrounds. We've both got very similar backgrounds, but from completely opposite ends of the country, completely different environments, okay. It's one of the things that bonded us together very early on was No, I'm lucky. I got a Kaz. Yeah, I'm not saying my wife doesn't tell me what to do, but my wife is one of those that will look at me and go,
"Really?
You're being a wally now," or yeah, that was the phrase.
Really?
I hear that one and I go, yeah, maybe think about this. Maybe. But yeah, I just wanted to try a couple of cheap items from them, see what they're like. So I had a look through, ordered a couple of bits. We'll see how they go. Yeah, so me and Mac's military mindsets, but we're not exactly the same. Now, so this is the interesting thing for you guys. We have two opposing views on some things, okay? So I'm very much travel light, freeze at night, but Mac is a travel light man. The world he worked in was about travelling light with minimum resources, okay? So we can approach from two completely different angles and hopefully give you a good view of both. And then it's down to you to figure out what suits yourself and what would suit you. Anyhow, so that's it. 2 hours and 5 minutes. My friends, thank you for joining me tonight. I did need it, actually. Like I say, it's been quite a worrying and stressful week. Phil is a good friend and a neighbour. He's a guy that when I have to leave home and go and look after or help my mum, he's a guy I know I've got literally 50 metres from us. 50 metres from us, who's always got his eye open for Kaz if she needed anything or if she had a problem, he'd always be there, as well as Jason and Pete and that. But Jason, he's down the road. Pete's over in Fleet. So they're a little bit further out. It's just nice to know that the guy's literally across the way. And obviously, he's there with his wife. So again, sometimes it's not so much, it's no, my wife's got somebody to talk to. It's another woman. And he's been a good lad to me. And I know he's got his own difficulties in life and that. And seeing this happen to him and his family was a kick in the nuts. And it made me think a little bit about self-assessment. Always been my own medic, but yeah, listen to your heart, boys. Listen to your brains. Yeah, if your body says something's wrong, it's wrong. Don't waste time. Get it fucking sorted. Anyhow, guys, please. Yeah, you're right there, Matt. Guys, I will do. Will do. I will have a look into the Deer Hunter. I'll let you know what I think next week. Guys, please like, subscribe and share. It really helps us out. And again, if you ever see any of the other videos, if you can do the same on that for us, it really helps because we'll try and grow the channel. We're trying to get somewhere with it. We're trying to take it somewhere. And obviously, the more views we get, the more the channel grows. But other than that, more importantly than that, guys, have an awesome week. Take care. Stay safe. Have your adventures. Have your fun. Look after yourselves. Listen to your bodies. Okay? And
just remember, stay safe, be free.
Kajaki. Yeah. That's a difficult one, isn't it?
Goodbye. Nice to see everyone and hear everyone, and we'll see you.
I'm going to finish my cigar. Guys, I will see you all next week. I'm just going to let the comments go up. Have a flick through the comments and that. Stay safe, be good, have your adventures, have your fun, look after yourselves, love those you do, forgive those you don't, and as always, peace and light be upon you all, my friends. May peace and light be upon you all. Please like, subscribe, share, ring that notification bell for future videos, and have fun more than anything. And I'll speak to you all next week. And it'll be something a bit better planned next week, I promise you. We'll have the Timo kit will be in, won't it?
Yep.
Got some new gear coming in to show you. Yes, we will have fun. Derek, stay safe, be good. Matt, catch up with you tomorrow. Stephen, look after yourself, mate. Thank you very much.
Night, Ray.
Ray,
night,
thank you, mate. Take it easy. Have a good one. Where else are we going up there? Where else are we going up there? Steve, Derek, Steve. I'll go. Oh, I don't even know what that thing is there. There we go. if there's anybody I've missed out there, FU crew, guys, stay safe, be good, look after yourselves. Law Mice, all the best, mate. Yeah, and everybody else. Yeah. Sorry, guys, I am absolutely chin strapped. Take care. All the best. Love to all.